Hi guys, my name is Mayana, and today I'm going to be talking about books I would rate 6 stars if I could. So you're probably wondering, why does this bitch look so dramatic? That's because it is my birthday, the day that I'm uploading this. I purposely upload this on my birthday for the attention. But every year for my birthday, I just do like really dramatic, or my birthday videos, I just do really dramatic like makeup looks. And the last time I did this video, well, not this video, um, like I think like 3 years ago, I did like my all time favorites, and I don't really have any all time favorites since then. Well, I do, but not enough to make a video. And so I just started to do books I would rate 6 stars if I could. Like these are books where it's like 5 stars are just not enough. Like the 5 stars are not cutting it. Not every book that I rate that is my all time favorite will be rated 6 stars, and not every book that's rated 6 stars will be my all time favorite. It doesn't make sense. I don't make sense. I don't know. But that's why I decided to do this video. Just wanted to give you guys a taste of like books that like I wanted to be like, I want to give this an extra star, okay? Because like it was so good, I want to give it a 6 stars, but I can't. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I don't really know where I was going with that. Okay, so let's just get started. First book I have is A Dowry of Blood. I hate how shiny this cover is, but I'm excited for the new cover that's coming out. It's so good. But I just read this book in July, and I haven't put it off because I just did not think that I was gonna like love it as much as everybody else did. Like I knew I would like it, but I am obsessed. Like everyone who reads this book loves it. They give it 5 stars. They're absolutely obsessed, and so am I. Like obviously this video stated like if I could give this book 6 stars, I could. Like this book, like when I introduce myself to people, if you had to like give people a book to introduce yourself with, it would be this book. Like this book has everything I love. People, it has like Alexei, who's like my favorite kind of guy, just like goofy, young, naive. Um, then you have a poly relationship. They're vampires. It talks about toxic things. Like these are all things that I love. If you don't know what A Diary of Blood is, where have you been? This book is about this girl who's in this toxic relationship with Dracula, and it's written through notes to Dracula. And it's about how they started this poly relationship and how toxic it was for everybody and how they killed him. And it just was so good. And there's also a novella that came out that was super, super smutty because, like, this book, it was like erotic, but like it was just a little taste. The short novella gave everything. I literally found it through her newsletter. Like I literally went searching for her newsletter, and I was gonna find it either way. And now it's getting a second book. It's getting a sequel. I'm really hoping it's around. I love Alexei. Like he is like my book boyfriend. Like a funny vampire who's just like goofy and just like he just gives, and I love that. The next book is Hench. I This is like literally one of my favorite books of the year. I've been trying to convince my sister to read it. If you love superheroes, you definitely will love this book. I talked about this book in my You definitely would love this book. This book is about this girl who is a henchman, and one day she is fighting this superhero and he breaks her leg, and he doesn't compensate for her for that. The police don't deny it happened, like they won't even acknowledge it happened. And she is fed up, so she goes to work for this really evil villain, and then they end up like kind of sparking this like romance. And like it's not really a romance, but it's something about books where like it's not really a romance, but it could be, that I just like love. Like in like Ninth House, like how like they never kissed, they never did anything. It's just like really slow burn. It could possibly be there. You could be delusional. You could be making this up. And if it's one thing I love to be, it's delusional. I mean, I pretty much do this in my real life anyways, so why not do it in books as well? So like I love that, and it was just fun reading a book about superheroes because I love superheroes. Like I love Marvel, I love DC, like I love like anything with like superheroes and superpowers, and I kind of wish there were more books like this, like Hench, not like Renegades, but like this. But I do think if you like read Renegades, like you were a young adult when Renegades was coming out, and you read it and you liked it, and you're an adult now, you might like to read this. Or if you are a young adult, I mean, it's not like you can't read this book. But if you like Renegades, I think you will like this. The next book I want to talk about is Fangs. It's actually a graphic novel. It's far, so I can't hold it up. But it is a graphic novel, and it is about this werewolf and this vampire who fall in love with each other. It is so sweet. and so cute. And it's like one of the best graphic novels I've read in a while. Every like graphic novel I've read that's just like a standalone, it's actually a comic book. If it's a standalone, it's a comic book, and if it's a series, it's a graphic novel. But I just always call them graphic novels because it just sounds cuter. At least I think that's what I was told. I could be wrong. I don't know. I just read them. I don't really know facts, I guess. But I really love the ones that are like standalones, like the just one-off ones. Like I really love those. But Fangs was like absolutely adorable. Like it's really good to read in the fall time. Like I highly suggest reading in October. Or for on Halloween. Actually, suggest that was like a good book to read on Halloween. The Dare by Holly LaRoe. This book was like really okay. So this book was banned, and like it still is banned. And like I remember hearing about it, everyone was like, "This book is disgusting. Like this book is like the worst romance book I've read. Like I see why it's banned." And like I said, it was banned. And so I just had to check it out because I'm like, girl, I can handle anything. And when I tell you this book was the best book I ever read, it's about this girl who she's in college now, and in high school there is this boy that like her boyfriend used to pick on, and she kind of had like a fling with, and then she sees him, and he's kind of like a bad boy now, and they kind of like start this like oh, I'm lost for words. I am lost for words. I keep wanting to call it a standalone, a one night stand. They have this like one night stand. His friends get involved. It's getting a sequel now. I will be tuning in. I will be tapping in for that. But it was amazing. Yeah, it's not really like that terrible. I've read worse. I mean, Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. Hello, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that bad to me. I loved it. I ate it up. And then I have, ugh, all these other books are too far away. Then I have the Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires. I absolutely love this book. I also liked the Final Girl Support Group, which a lot of people don't like, but I liked it. Don't care. The Southern Book Club Slaying Vampires. We don't know what this book is about. Where have we been? It's the horror novel by the Grady Hendrix. It's a vampire book. I love vampires. Duh. And it is about this girl. It was about these group of moms, these white Southern moms who just have this book club, and there's this guy who is really fun. And he moves to the neighborhood, and all the girls fawn over him, and the husbands even start to like him. And then the main character starts to realize that there's something not right about this man. And then she starts to realize that he is a vampire. So she has to convince all of the book club girls he's a vampire, and they all have to convince their husbands. And I really like this because Grady Hendrix does a lot of social commentary, and some people really miss that. Because personally, for me, now I don't know if I'm projecting, if I just made this up. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But I mean, it is a topic that happened in the book, so whether it's a social commentary or not, it happens in the book. But to me, it is a social commentary on how some people will not care about black children and what's going on in black neighborhoods until their own neighborhoods are affected, because a big part of the story is about how this black neighborhood of kids, they're going missing, and everyone's just like, oh, this is drugs, or it's just this, or they don't care because they're black kids. And then the white kids start going missing, and then the white moms are like, let's look into this. And it's actually the main character who connects the dots, and she's like, these are actually the same thing. So personally, I loved it. Grady Hendrix did his thing with this book. Like, I loved it. The aesthetic, like, he just ate. And the next book I have is For Your Own Good. So when I first read this book, I liked it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. There was something really missing. For me, like, thrillers, like, I just really have a hard time with thrillers because I want to be shocked. I want to be bamboozled. Like, and a lot of thrillers, like, they'll do that, but the story will be boring. Or like they'll shock, it won't be shocking enough. Like everyone will be like, this book is so shocking and surprising, and then it won't be shocking enough, or like it won't be good enough to me. I don't really know what's a good enough book, a thriller. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like thrillers. Maybe I'm expecting too much for thrillers. I don't know. So, For Your Own Good is a dark academia book, but it follows teachers, and this one teacher dies, and it kind of just starts like a domino effect of things. We follow this teacher who is psychotic and crazy. You follow a student, and it starts off with these parents. They're at a potential school. It starts off with these parents like trying to get an A for their kids. Their kid, and this asshole teacher is just like, no, he's a rich white kid. Like he doesn't deserve it. And yeah, I just thought it was really good. It was twisty. It did have a lot of plot twists. It just had things I didn't see coming for sure. But I've been thinking about this book. I read this book last year and I have been thinking about it since. Like, so obviously I have to bump it up to 5 stars. I also bought a copy. You just have to see my August haul for that one. Um, the next book is Lilac, and this book is a reverse harem. It's one of my favorite reverse harem books I've read. And this book is just about this girl. It's written by a black author, but it's about a white girl. I mention this every time because it makes me so sad. Sorry. Yeah, but it's written by a black author, but the main character is white, and I have to mention this all the time because it just hurts my feelings. Because I would have loved a reverse harem book with a black girl, but whatever. So maybe somebody else will do it, or maybe I have to do it myself. But it's about this girl who, okay, it's about this band, and their drummer, somebody in the band dies, and the main character, she's really good, so she auditions and they get it. She gets it, and they like hate her, and they all form like a romance. And my favorite thing about this one is like all the characters are interested in each other, and so those are my favorite types of reverse harems, where it's not just they're all pawning after the girl, but they all are like interested in each other and they all interact with each other. You know what I mean? This book I have is The Villain by LJ Shin. This is like the only LJ Shin book I'll ever probably rate 5 stars. I actually never finished the series because the series has so much potential, but it just kind of flopped. So this one is a Persephone and Hades retelling kind of. He's not, yeah. So it's about this girl and her husband disappeared. She's in a lot of debt. Like these mafia men are after her, and this guy that like she was in love with but won't reciprocate the feelings towards her is really rich, and they decide to fake marry each other because like he benefits from it and she benefits from it. And I really liked it. It just was like so angsty and so good, and it just had like I read it a long time ago, but it had like all my favorite tropes, and it also had rep for Tourette's, which I've never seen before, let alone in a romance book. So I just personally thought it was really, really good. The next book we have is People We Meet on Vacation. Duh, I had to throw some Emilyhenry in here. Y'all know what People Meet on Vacation is about. Whoever you been. The next book is The Night Swim. This is a thriller. This is like one of the only thrillers that like I actually gave 5 stars. This is about this girl who does this podcast, and she's going to this town to like work on this case that happened, and she gets contacted by this girl, and the girl says that her sister like died a bunch of years ago, like she committed suicide, but she knows her sister and she knows that would never happen. So you follow a timeline of like what happened between her and her sister, and you also follow present day with this case that she's working on. And this book was a plot twist. It does deal with like rape though, I will say that, but like I just absolutely love this book. Like this is like literally the best story I've ever read. Like, even if the plot twist wasn't twisted, like this book made me. I remember crying in the bathroom at work, at Target, in the bathroom. I mean, that was a new. Because one thing about me is I was gonna cry in that damn bathroom. The next book we have is Ninth House. Why wouldn't this be here? Dark Academia Excellence. Daniel Arlington, like Virgo King. Please, why wouldn't this be here? This is about Alex Galaxy, Galaxy or Alex, whatever you want to call her. I call her Bestie, and she can see grays, which are ghosts, and she is at Yale, and it is like a contemporary, like fantasy book. I've never read anything like that before, and yeah, she's like her and like Darlington like on a mission, and I don't know, it was just really fun. Hellbent comes out. I kind of have high hopes for Hellbent, but it's also a second book in the series. So the only person to ever do a second book in the series right is Holly Black. So maybe Lee Bardugo will fall into Holly Black's shoes. One can only hope. Then I have The Bride Test, which is a romance about. This is the sequel to The Kiss Potion. And this one is about a Vietnamese character who is moving to America because she has agreed to fake marry this character's son. And I love this book. Like a lot of people didn't like this book. I love this book. This one, he is on the spectrum. I think he was autistic. I probably should be sure of that. he was neurodivergent for sure, obviously, because that's the point of the romance, the first two books. So I personally really liked it. It was really smutty. It was really good to see like that type of representation in a romance book. And they're my favorite scene in this book, which I read this book many years ago and I would never forget this scene. But it's a scene where she breaks her ankle, like sprains her ankle, and he like carries her to the hospital. And I just loved it. And I just loved his personality, the love interest. I love his personality, and he was like grumpy, and like he didn't want to get too close because he didn't want to love her, and obviously he couldn't help himself, and it was just so cute. Then Paper Princess by L. Kennedy's pen name. I don't know who this book is by, but if people can like Colleen Hoover, then I can like Paper Princess. Okay, this is full drama, like pure mess, like like it's like reading reality TV in a book. I actually never finished the series because it was getting a bit too much for me. But the first book was about this girl who's a stripper, right? And she's underage, and this guy comes to the strip club, and he's like, "I know your dad. I'm gonna take you in with my sons." And she goes to live with them. They're super rich, popular. They're in this rich popular school. The sons are standoffish. It reminds me of my favorite Wattpad trope, which is why this book is my favorite book. It reminds me of my favorite Wattpad trope back in the day, where the girl would go live with a bunch of guys. I love that trope. I ate that trope. I wanted it to happen to me so bad. Girl, don't know, whatever. Yes, she goes to live with a bunch of guys. They're all standoffish, like typical, typical things that happen in that trope. And it gave, don't care. I'm gonna read the rest of the books eventually, but I love it. The Folk of the Air, obviously love Carden, like he's my king. I love Jude. She's everything. If you don't know what the Folk of the Air is about, where have you been? Um, Obviously I was gonna put this here because I would give it 7 stars if I could. Okay, I would get 10 stars, 20 stars, a million stars. Like, duh. Same with all the books I loved before. And Danny Brown, I loved Chloe Brown, but Danny Brown was just that girl. I haven't read Eve Brown just because at first I was just putting it off, just to put it off. But then I read um It Happened One Summer, which the girlies were hyping up, and I just did not eat that book up like I thought I was going to. So now I'm just scared to read Eve Brown because they came out around the same time, and I'm just scared I'm not going to eat it up. And then also The Duff. I do not care how problematic this book is. Like, it gave. I just have so many memories towards this book. I reread it every year. Same with All the Books I Love Before. I reread that every year. But The Duff, I reread it every year. If you don't know, I used to be a huge Justin Bieber fan, and so a popular thing in the Justin Bieber community is they would take real books and they would turn them into fan fiction. So they would take real books and they would change the male love interest name to Justin Bieber, and they would upload it on JustinBieberFanfiction.com or JustinBieberFanfiction.com Plus, or just random Wattpad. So I originally read this book as a fan fiction. I did not know this was a real book until someone had commented like, "Yo, like you just stole a real book," and I was like, "Scandal!" And I love the fan fiction so much. I want to read the real book, and I was like, "This is everything. This gives. I need to get into this." So then I became obsessed with the book, and then the movie came out, and they're two separate things, and I love that. Like, this is like one of the only book to movie adaptations that I've had where like the movie was so different from the book, and I wasn't upset, and it made sense to be different. Like, they changed all the right things, and it's basically about this girl, and she's not really the pretty one, not really the desired one. Her two friends are, and so she in the book she she starts sleeping with the love interest to like you know to like enhance her abilities for the guy that she likes, and then she ends up falling in love with him. And then in the movies they just fake date to make him like jealous and interested. But I just love these for two different reasons. Like, in the book, the Madison girl, like, she isn't really like a mean girl. She's kind of just the typical like slutty like girl that the guy is interested in. But in the movie it is just like the mean girl. And like, I just like that. Haven't rewatched the movie. I haven't read the book and then rewatched the movie in so long. I don't know why I spent more time talking about this than To All the Boys I Loved Before, which was also amazing and also my all-time favorite. And this is also one of the only book to movie adaptations where it followed the book perfectly and actually ended up being perfect. Like this book, my sister introduced this book to me, and in high school, I remember, can't remember what year it was, but she introduced the book to me, and I just remember carrying this book with me every single year. Like I literally remember, like my last day of my senior year, I had this book with me, and there's this guy I liked, and he saw the book, and he was like, "Did you write on this book?" And I was like, "No, why would I do that?" The conversation was pointless, but I will never forget that memory because I don't know. But Peter Kavinsky has been my first boyfriend ever. It's so weird saying that now because like I'm 24 as of this video's uploading. I'm 24, but when I read the book, I was like 14. Was I? Girl, this book couldn't have come out 10 years ago. Hold on now. I don't think so. I think I just made that up. But yeah, so when I was like 14, 15, like Peter Kavinsky was like my age, and so me calling him a book boyfriend, like he's like the kind of guy that like I wanted to be with. Just like funny, charismatic, like the banter that him and Lauren G had, like him being like this popular guy that everyone loved, and like no man will ever be Peter Kavinsky. I'm sorry, like no man's ever gonna leave notes in my locker. Like no man's gonna call me like every single night. Like no man's gonna sit there and eat the food that I bake for them, or any man will. No man's gonna like put his hand in my back pocket. Like no man is going to watch my favorite movies with me and then make me watch his favorite movies with him. Like Peter Kavinsky just gives. But anyways, my camera's about to overheat once again, so I'm gonna have to end the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Check out my Patreon. Please tell me happy birthday. I desperately need the attention. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for all of you guys. And you guys mean the world to me. And I'm going through a really hard time right now. So I'm really just uploading because your comments just make me smile. And I really just needed that. So thank you for being here with me. And yeah.